I wanted to take a wood crate from the Dollar Tree and one of their house-shaped shadow box signs like this. And this one fits in here almost perfectly into this size of wood bin. And I thought we could make a birdhouse flower box. This turned out so fun. The first thing I'm going to do is paint everything white again. I was gonna stain this, but I decided to do it white because I'm matching two different kinds of wood together. So I thought it would be more consistent to do this part of the piece in white. So I just went all over the frame of it. Originally, I thought about popping out the back of the frame, but this one was really well put together. So we're going to leave it in and I'm going to show you how I decorated it. I love how it turned out. I'm just going on the inside and the outside of the house-shaped frame. I don't really have to do the bottom because you're not going to be able to see that. That's going to be down inside the flower box. And I'm also going to go over the background there to kind of disguise that tie-dye. And then I'm going to paint my flower box white as well. This will make it all blend in more together. When I was choosing this wood crate from the Dollar Tree, I made sure that the little house sign fit down inside there really almost perfectly. There's a little bit of a gap on each side, but I definitely wanted one that I could fit the house sign down into. I want to use that house shaped sign to be the birdhouse for this little planter. And this was a really fun DIY. I'm only going to paint the outside and the outer rim there on that one because you're not going to be able to see inside of it. Now to cover the back, I found this great spring bag from the Dollar Tree. It's just one of their shopping bags that they sell. And I'm going to cut out this cute little bluebird with the flowers on here. I thought this would be perfect for a birdhouse. And it's got a little bluebird on there. I love that. It's a tribute to my mother that passed away about 6 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long. After she passed away, she sent me bluebirds all the time. She still sends me bluebirds to say hello, I think, which I love. So I'm going to cut this down to size. It was a little bit hard because I had to cut on the inside here of the frame. And I didn't really have a template or anything to go with. So I'm just going to cut one side at a time. Cutting the three bottom edges is pretty easy. But then you also have to kind of cut the roof line here. And I was trying not to cut too much off, but I was able to cut it a little bit larger than what I needed. And then I can just trim that down to size and put that on the back. The only thing I didn't like about the shopping bag is it's really glossy on the front. And so I'm going to have to tone that down a little bit to use it the way that I want here because I don't want it to be really shiny. The back is almost like a fabric texture on these bags. I think this is the first time I've crafted with one of these style bags from the Dollar Tree. But I love finding new uses for items like this from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to put a nice thick coat of Mod Podge here on the back of our birdhouse sign and then attach that sign right on top. Since it's so thick and durable, the material, I don't have to wait for that to dry or anything. I just smoothed it out with a dry paper towel to try to avoid any bubbling, make sure it's down really flat. And I'm using the matte Mod Podge from Dollar Tree, so it's going to take away some of that shininess, but it's really shiny. So it's going to take several coats of that to tone that down a little bit. I don't care if it's a tiny bit shiny, but I really didn't want it to be really glossy like it was originally. So I just went over that. I think I ended up doing at least 3 coats of the Mod Podge on there to tone that down. And I was really happy with that. I love the fact that there's a bird back there. You could really use anything. You could also use some of like the spring floral napkins, stuff like that from the Dollar Tree, or even some of their pretty tissue papers if you can't find this bag to decorate your little birdhouse in the back. And then I'm going to use some hot glue to glue my little birdhouse down into my planter box. And you can kind of see the structure of this coming together. I thought it'd be really cute with a roof though. So I got some craft wood from the Dollar Tree that's a little bit wider than the wood house frame. And I'm going to cut this down to size. I do want this to look like a roof, and so I'm actually going to use my miter saw to try to cut an angle so I can have the perfectly peaked roof and I won't have any gaps here at the top. So, I have a miter saw and I never use it for that function, so I actually had to go look at a YouTube video to figure out how to use it, right? But what I did is I cut it at a 30-degree angle, both pieces, and made them the same width. And I think that's going to work out perfectly. I'm glad that I actually challenged myself to do that. And then I am going to stain it with some Antique Wax by Waverly. This raw wood from the Dollar Tree stains really well. I didn't want it to be super dark though, so that's why I'm using a wet wipe after I put it on there just to thin it out, take it down a little bit. And I'm going to go over all of the different sides of a roof. I thought this would give it a little bit more of a rustic feel, break up all of the white that we have going on the birdhouse. And I can just glue them here at the top. And you know what? I cut the angle perfectly on these, so I was really happy with this. It's a perfectly peaked roof. I just attached that with hot glue here at the top. Now the fun part, time to fill it up with florals. Again, I'm going to use some Dollar Tree foam to fill up the box a little bit, just trimming these pieces down to size to make them work for this size of the wood bin. And I found some smaller flowers and little berries from the Dollar Tree that I think are going to work really well. And I just want to fill it up all over. So I'm just adding pieces wherever just to fill it up. And then I'm going to do some reindeer moss on the top of the foam to cover that up. So I can add all of those little spring florals in there. I want it to look like a little spring flower garden in front of our birdhouse in the little flower box. So these are the flowers that I chose. I was trying to find small ones. These are the pink baby's breath from the Dollar Tree. And these are called a summer filler, but I thought they're really pretty. They're like pink berries. And then I think these are really beautiful. A gypso is what they're called, little tiny bluish lavender flowers. And I'm just going to cut these down and make these work. Now, this is a pretty small planter, so even the baby's breath like this was a little too tall because I don't want to cover up that adorable bird. So I'm just going to cut this down to size. And you don't need any wire when it comes to this really soft floral foam from the Dollar Tree. You can just use the plastic like this to be able to put these down in here. And yes, I am still wearing sleeves. I am still covered head to toe in poison ivy. If you guys see my last video, you guys know I was landscaping and got into poison ivy, and I have it so, so, so bad. And so I did finally go to the doctor after a week of suffering and got on prednisone, and it is helping. I'm still having issues, but hopefully, once I really get into the treatment, it's going to get a lot better because it was not getting any better. After a week, it was maybe getting worse. I'm even going to use the greenery here on the summer filler piece to fill in the little gaps. I think that looks really good. I'm not necessarily going to use the fern piece on here. I didn't think that really went with the vibe I was going, but I thought the greenery would be perfect to add to this. So I did the pink flowers, the greenery, and then the little blue flowers, super cute, just to mix up the colors a little bit and fill this all up. But I love how the spring little birdhouse flower box turned out, and that's so pretty. I love the colors on that. I think it looks really a bright painted white, and I love all the pinks and the blues and that cute little bluebird there in the back.